This is Ian from the Central Control with my friend Mr. Schwankrast, and we do controls business. And the best way to do it is a martini shaken, not stirred. Right, let me get this straight. Start again. This is only soda. Hi, this is 007 for Kent Myers and Eric Schwankrast for Control Talk. Doing a wonderful job. I am from Johnson Controls, and as you understand, everything's good, shaken, not stirred.
All right, well, welcome to Control Talk Now. This is your host, Eric Stromquist, and you're listening to Control Talk for the week ending November 17th, 2013. I am joined, as usual, by my co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, the one, the only, Kenny Smyers from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Hey, Kenny, another week to talk about controls, huh?
Thank you, Eric. How's things going down there in Georgia today? We had a beautiful fall day here.
We kind of got a rainy day in Georgia, dude. I tell you what, have you ever had an experience where, you just are surprised by something and it totally blows you away and you're captivated? So, here's what happened to me. And if you're like me, you like music a lot. So I'm trying to unwind from the week. My wife and my baby Evelyn are asleep. So I'm sort of surfing the channels, trying to find something to see. And, normally when I go to the movies, I've got Comcast, Kenny. Normally I always start with the A's, so I never see a movie past B or C because I always find something and watch it. I'm too tired to think about it. So this time I started the other direction. I started at the end and worked my way back up. But here's what I found. This was the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen. There's a movie out called Muscle Shoals. And Muscle Shoals is a little town in Alabama that's near the Tennessee border, but there's a couple music studios there. You've heard like the Muscle Shoals sound and all that. And let me tell you what, this was about Muscle Shoals. You had everybody from Bono, from U2, to Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Percy Sledge, the Allman Brothers. It was unbelievable. Such an incredible story, Kenny. And and the scenery was beautiful, just the cinematography of the river and sort of the history of Muscle Shoals, but then with the music. And it sort of centered around this guy named Rick Hall. And Rick was a guy that grew up in the middle of the woods at, complete poverty. I mean, dude, they didn't have running water. He slept on a floor, right, in the woods. Long story short, this guy produced some of the greatest songs you've ever heard. He got these musicians from Alabama, these country guys, right, created one of the most distinctive sounds in our industry. So if you listen to Aretha Franklin, Wilson Pickett, some of these guys, and you see the video, these are Caucasian guys. They were Aretha Franklin's band, right? I mean, they were her studio band. These guys with glasses, these nerdy-looking guys that are from around the country in northern Alabama, created one of the funkiest sounds ever. So I've got to just give everybody a movie rating, Kenny. You got to check out this movie, Muscle Shoals.
Well, it sounds really interesting, Eric. I get a kick out of that stuff, too. We have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame up here in Cleveland. It's about an hour and a half from us, and I've been there probably 5-6 times. And every time I go there, it's just, because music's a big part of our lives, and take a lot of time and solace and listen to music, different things, classical. But that area you're talking, the genre you're talking about was one of my favorites, too. I love that old stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, I sort of digressed a little bit. So I want to thank our friend from Johnson Controls. Most of you don't know that James Bond, actually Sean Connery, works for Johnson Controls. He uses the handle Ian there. He asked me not to reveal his last name, but want to thank Ian for that fantastic introduction. We got more on the 2013 Johnson Controls Conference coming up later in the show. But so Kenny, a big week. So big news from Vicon this week. You want to tell them about it?
Sure, Eric, I'd love to. Control Talk Now, sponsor of the week ending November 17th is Vicon, the Vicon team, and Ed Merwin. Thank you very much. They joined the platinum sponsor ranks, and a little about Ed Merwin. He single-handedly shaped a lot of the building management and building automation systems as I know it. Ed's a tenacious leader and a team player. He's a consummate team player, and he really likes his job, and he has a passion about it, and he's done a lot for the industry that will make Ed a very long-standing, well-remembered person in the controls business. And we thank Vicon team very much, Julie Hardesty and the group there. Vicon is all about integrating building automation, energy, and security. And I think one thing to mention about Vicon is people don't realize that they're really after leveraging that network. So all the Vicon systems integrators and distributors, you really have an opportunity there that like lighting, like energy management, security now is going to become an increasingly important aspect to our society at large. And Vicon has quite a product platform to offer.
I mean, those guys changed the game, right, Kenny? I mean, think about it. They really changed the game with that Vicon platform, opening systems up, if you will, the interoperability, bringing divergent systems together. And, of course, Ed Merwin. I mean, I don't know about you, but between Ed Merwin, Brian Turner, and Scott Cochran, those were the three guys that really got me excited about it. But Ed's just been an evangelist for this product since day one, and just a super, super good guy. So Ed is up for the PID award this year on Control Trends. He's a really, really humble guy. We try to get Ed to come on and to talk about the award, but he's a humble guy like that. He doesn't really want to talk about that, but he is willing to talk about other people on his team and the product. So Ed's going to come on in the next week or two, Kenny, and be a guest on Control Talk now. But Ed is super. Julie Hardesty over there runs their marketing department. Tritium Vicon is up for a 2013 marketing award. Several products on the DDC side. So I can't say enough about Vicon and Tritium. Ed, Julie, and the rest of the team, and of course Nino, who is running the show over there now. So thanks very much, everybody, from Vicon for your support of the 2013 Control Trends Awards. If you haven't had a chance to check Ed out and Vicon, Kenny will put a link so people can go to the Tritium website and check them out. I think the thing about Vicon and Tritium, Kenny, is that we wouldn't be in the building automation business if it wasn't for those guys developing that product. And if you think about it, when we got in the business, it was really the branches, right? The big branches were the only people that had the products and had the know-how to make those systems work, right? And so with the advent of Tritium and opening the systems up, basically meaning that an independent contractor could now get in that game and communicate with those systems and integrate other systems with it. I mean, we probably wouldn't be here. So thanks to Ed for that. And then also, thanks to Brian Turner. Data Eye and Control Co. are also platinum sponsors and up for awards at the Control Trends Awards. But between Brian Turner and Scott Cochran from Cochran Supply, I mean, those two guys were really the guys that went out and convinced the manufacturers like Tritium that distribution was a viable option. So three guys that, I think had huge turning point in our industry: Ed Merwin, Brian Turner, and Scott Cochran.
All right, Eric, our first post was our building automation systems and SCADA systems doomed. Is Blue Pillar's digital energy network next? This is an interesting post brought to us by Mark Peacock from LinkSpring. And what do we see here is we have another version or another aspect on how things are being done in our building management marketing. There are large infrastructures like hospitals, universities, industrial parks, malls, supermarkets are shifting their big gears to reduce their security and their service disruption vulnerabilities, shifting towards a digital energy network that may leave the customized, inflexible software providers, I assume like us, towards a digital energy network that it features the emphasis is on how energy is used and managed, and not how buildings are controlled. In other words, we provide all the inputs to them, but basically they want to leverage all that and go out there on the utility and control it. So it's kind of unique and revolutionary. I think Blue Pillar has been around, but they're starting to move. They're moving into they could be another influential factor on how we do business. I'd like to comment Ben Dorsey made was that they do have something to offer, but they're mostly the automation, industrial, building management is still the realm of our Control Trends type community, and but we better be on our toes.
Well, we've talked about that trend before, Kenny, on the show. I think, what the HVAC industry is, what, a $4 billion industry or thereabouts. And I think a lot of companies that understand networks and computers, computing and cloud computing look at it as sort of maybe low hanging fruit. I know Cisco ventured in several years back to our industry, trying to do well with that. And I think part of Ben Dorsey's comment, which I think is right on track, is that it's a little more complicated than just data points, right? So and I think some of these people that have sort of ventured in the past have found out that there's a trick to it. And of course, on the commercial side, we got people like Nest coming into the HVAC. We'll talk more about that later. But as we have stated on the show before, Kenny, more and more people are coming into our industry. So not only do we have to worry about our inherent competitors that we deal with every day, we really have to worry about the forces that could be coming in that we don't even know about yet.
Okay, Eric, next we have the Belimo Energy Valve returns. Knowledge is power. The Belimo Energy Valve won the 2012 Control Trends Awards Commercial Product of the Year. And they're up again for the 2013, same category with the same kind of momentum. The MIT study, tell us a little bit about that. Tell us how that valve works. I mean, it sounds so easy, but what really is involved there, and how does that save money?
Well, it's a unique process. And so first of all, hi to Gary Weber, Lars, Mike Martinelli, Lisa Hickey, all the people over at Belimo. Belimo, the Energy Valve, did win last year, the 2012 Control Trends Awards. Kenny, it's like you said, it's a combination of an energy saving valve and a PIC valve. So it has sensors in it. You're able to monitor flow, BTUs, temperatures. Up until just recently, it's been for bigger valves, right? But now they're starting to introduce down as low as half inch. So the big thing with that is not only can you get the energy savings, the great flow control, but now you can bring that information back into your system and sort of see what's going on there. So just a super product. It's sort of a no-brainer in terms of, like I said, it improves coil performance. It improves the performance of your overall system. So just as the PIC valve does, but then it takes it a whole nother level and saves a tremendous amount of energy. It was MIT was one of the people, Kenny, that did a study on this. They sort of didn't believe the physics and the mechanics behind it. So MIT put Belimo to the test as sort of an independent, skeptical, we don't believe this is possible survey. And MIT was impressed. As a matter of fact, there's a video that we've had on Control Trends. We probably ought to post it again this week with that MIT study and the findings that they had. But I think, Gary, Lars, and the team over at Belimo have a great product in there.
Eric, and as we all know, Belimo's fared very well in the Control Trends Awards 2013 nominations with, I believe, eight listings.
Well, yeah, Kenny, and I think, as we get closer to the voting ballots going out for the 2013 Control Trends Awards, which will happen probably the week of December 15th. So you guys don't freak out if you haven't gotten your voting ballot yet. We will send those out to you if you've registered to vote. If you hadn't, be sure to register to vote on ControlTrends.org. But I think it's very apropos, Kenny. We're talking about Belimo. What a super company Belimo is. They're up for several awards. I mean, obviously the Belimo valve is up for the energy valve for the commercial product of the year. These guys are up for best tech support as a company. These guys do a fantastic job with the technical support. Joe Carcare, who's one of their tech support people, who you and I think an awful lot of, is up for the best technical support person of the year. Gary Weber, who again is a super good guy, is up for the PID award. And of course, Lars Vanderhagen is up for the HVAC Controls Executive of the Year. These guys stay really busy. We're hoping to maybe get a couple of these guys on the show so that our Control Trends community can get to know these guys, because I tell you what, they do a fantastic job. So Kenny, I think we have our first guest all teed up and ready to go. Do you want to introduce him?
Messed around with a giant. Ben Dorsey's a lion in communications and social media. Ben's a smart guy. He's got a background in scientific and technical communications. He's presently Senior Vice President of Marketing and Communications at KMC Controls. He's responsible for product line management, brand management, corporate and customer communications, and marketing activities, training, and content development. just a sensational guy. And you know what? He's not only is he a professorial type of guy, he shares information willingly. He's a great speaker. It's one of his hobbies, and he's a very nice, humble kind of guy.
So Ben, welcome to the show.
Guys, I feel honored to be chatting with you today.
And you know, guys like Kenny, and I know a lot of people know Cruder for the great like pneumatic products you guys have made over the years. I know you've been in business over 50 years, and so we handle like your stop sign. And anybody that's you know work with a pneumatic VAV box has at one time or another played with the Cruder stop sign. So you guys do a great job with that. But for our listeners who might not know what you guys do regarding DDC, give us a lowdown on your DDC product offering.
We have, in fact, been manufacturing right here in the USA for more than 40 years. Over the last 10 years in particular, we've made a lot of noise in the BACnet community, and this portion of our product line is probably most noteworthy. It's distinguished by robustness and what I'll refer to as an honest implementation of the standard. Now, by that I mean that we don't play any games with the little gotchas that can thwart interoperability. The fact that we don't play those games is borne out in numerous multi-vendor installations that these products have been a part of. Many of those installations subsequently turn into success stories that are published on the website of BACnet International. And there are more stories there featuring KMC than any other manufacturer.
Yeah, Ben, so very, very, very interesting distinctions on the BACnet. We'll have to get you back on another time to talk more about BACnet protocols. I had no idea KMC was so involved with BACnet, so that's really, really cool to know. Well, Ben, you guys are nominated for several Control Trends Awards, and I know a lot of our listeners might not know some of the products. Could you take a minute and walk us through some of those products?
Yeah, and thanks for asking about that. I sure appreciate you guys putting on these awards. I think it's great for the industry. We have a few of our BACnet products in the running this year. Two of those products are very similar. They are known as FlexStat and AppStat. They're similar in that they're both integrated controllers and sensors. FlexStat is the more powerful of the two devices, and it has a longer track record, quite frankly. It's known in the BACnet world as an advanced application controller. It has very flexible input options for temperature, humidity, occupancy, and CO2. Flexible connectivity as well. It can sit on the BACnet MSTP or IP network. So a very powerful little device. AppStat is newer. It just introduced this year, as a matter of fact. And in the BACnet world, it's an application-specific controller. We really designed AppStat as a more cost-effective device for specific applications. And for example, you can order models based on the equipment you want to control. We have built-in sequences for rooftop units, fan coil units, and heat pumps. Color LCD screen is standard, as is temperature sensing, of course. Humidity and occupancy sensing are optional. It sits on the BACnet MSTP network, and quite frankly, great for standalone or networked control.
All right, Ben, so then we got the FlexStat as the most advanced application controller. We've got the AppStat as an application-specific controller. Tell us about the other product that's up for the Controller of the Year.
It's nominated for the Building Automation Controller of the Year and known as our BAC 7000 Series VAV controller. Now here's an inside scoop for you. This integrated actuator controller is our #1 selling product. KMC made a name, we made a name for ourselves in the pneumatic VAV space with this venerable reset volume controller. And this BACnet advanced application controller continues that VAV tradition. So whether it's pneumatic or digital, if it's VAV, it's very likely KMC.
So Ben, that's an awesome looking controller. I know you got some stiff competition for the DDC Controller of the Year, but boy, it looks like you've got a great entry into the product, into the competition. So, you know, Ben, why should somebody cast a vote for KMC?
In addition to products, we have been nominated as a company in a few other categories of the Control Trends Awards. And let me just say, there's some stiff competition in these categories. And quite frankly, all the companies represented do things very well. Maybe a distinguishing feature for us would be our people. We have a corporate theme of in touch. For us, that implies a desire to make long-term, mutually beneficial relationships with our channel partners. And quite frankly, I assume it's those channel partners, whether they're in distribution or contracting, that have nominated us for these awards. Now, I would like to talk about one of our people in particular. He's actually nominated for Control Trends Person of the Year, and he's our very own Dave Bowman. And let me tell you why I think Dave deserves a nod in this category. Dave leads many of the technology initiatives for KMC Controls. He assists me a great deal in my product management responsibilities. He lends his expertise to the engineering development staff. Dave sits on the ASHRAE SSPC 135, which is the committee responsible for the evolution of the BACnet standard. And quite frankly, beyond all that, he manages our technical support team. Now, we have some pretty smart, experienced people on our technical support team. Despite that, when an issue is a very complex automation-related or particularly system integration-related challenge arises, they're often elevated to Dave's desk. He has the smarts, the skills, the experience to alleviate any concerns there. Dave is one of the smartest people I know, quite frankly, and in addition to that, a heck of a nice guy, great sense of humor, and a real pleasure to work with.
Okay, there you have it. Ben Dorsey from KMC Controls. Ben, thanks so much for being on the show.
Well, thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you both in New York City.
So, Kenny, I really like this guy, Ben Dorsey. He just gets it. He follows us on Control Trends. He keeps up with what's going on in the industry. I am just absolutely thrilled that KMC is in the hunt for some awards at the Control Trends Awards. So we'll look forward to meeting Ben in person there. And again, Ben, thanks so much for being on the show. And KMC's a great American company. We appreciate you guys, and good luck to Dave Bowman. All right, Kenny, what do we have up next?
Next up is Tim's Tech Tips, Understanding Chiller Surge. Just the facts, ma'am. Why don't you tell us about that post, Derek?
We've talked about Tim in the past. We're very fortunate that Tim works with Stromquist. He's on our team. I've known Tim probably for 30 years. And ever since the first time I met Tim, I've tried to hire him. And he's been with several different companies. So he's got a wealth of experience, Kenny. He's worked for mechanical contractors, worked for Trane for a while. Finally came to work with us. We are thrilled to have Tim, but Tim is a trainer extraordinaire. I mean, most of the techs around Atlanta have been trained by Tim. Tim is a chiller expert. He does a chiller class at Stromquist twice a year. This is an excerpt from one of Tim's classes on chiller surge, which is something I had no idea about. I mean, it was just a term to me. But Tim just does a great job of explaining things like that. So be sure to check that out. I mean, even if you don't work with chillers, it's important to sort of understand how you can screw one up if you don't know what you're doing. And Tim does a good job of breaking it down and making it understandable. So thanks to Tim for that. And a question for the Control Trends community and the listeners on Control Trends. We are thinking about doing a professional video of Tim's chiller class and making it available for sale through Stromquist or through Control Trends at a very reasonable price. And I guess before we go through that, is that something that you guys would be interested in? If so, just let us know in comments, and we'll look at making that available. And of course, you can always come to Atlanta for one of Tim's classes. He is, like I said, a fantastic trainer. All right, Kenny, what do we have up next?
All right, Eric. Next up, we have Control Trends catches up with Johnson Controls' Jim Mangini at the ABCS conference out there in Scottsdale. It was about building championship teams, and I'll tell you, Jim and his Johnson Controls colleagues put together a whale of a show and did build a championship team out there with the distributors, contractors, and Johnson all mixing. It was quite an event, and it was really good for the distributor folks who were out there and contractor folks, because Johnson did a great job of giving us some background business information about the social media buzz, how it's going to impact our businesses, about the study on the Generation Y and why we need to know what's happening there and get along and communicate better. And finally, the North American Economic Forecast and Trend Analysis. Great stuff.
When I think of Johnson Controls, it was a fantastic conference, and they have great people. And Johnson, as you know, is up for several awards, including the 2013 HVAC Control Vendor of the Year as well as Best Technical Support. They're up for several People Awards. Chris Eichmann is up for HVAC Controls Executive of the Year. But Jim Mangini is just another one of those really, really great, competent Johnson executives. Jim actually runs the entire distribution network for Johnson. He has a stellar background. He very technical, worked for one of the big compressor companies for a while, but a super, super nice guy. And you know, I was sort of talking to Jim a little bit about what makes Johnson sort of special and why they should be considered to be the distributor, why they should be considered to be the HVAC Controls Vendor of the Year. And his theme is building championship teams. Let's hear what Jim has to say.
Our role as part of that building championship teams is to come up with the best products, the best content to add value to our customers and to their customers beyond them.
Well, absolutely. And I think, Jim, the thing too is Johnson just really seems like it's renewed its commitment to the independent channels.
We have, as you know, Eric, we've been on a several-year progression of building these channels and adding more and more value all the time. We're trying to kick it up a notch with this meeting here. We're having a great meeting place, great customers in, trying to have great content. We had some great meetings. We had Rocky Blyer speak, David Rutherford today that blew the audience away. Ex-Navy SEAL was just fabulous. We talked also about, we've got a new CEO, as you know, that grew up as a control salesperson in Building Efficiency North America, who was as committed as we are at dedicating the resources and investing to bring the best products we can through our independent channel.
Like I say, Kenny, Jim is just a super guy. Johnson's doing some major sort of reorganization, but we did get a chance to catch up with Don Albinger at the conference, and Don actually runs all the product sales through the branch and through distribution. So I guess Jim technically works for him. But I asked Don, you know, his philosophy and sort of why Johnson's special. He broke it down to the Johnson value proposition.
Perspective is really that they're really engaged. You know, day to day, they're learning how their customers operate. They're learning the intricacies of their building and really what value we can bring through our digital controllers and our technology. You know, and what really kind of a baseline for these folks is that they're trying to help our customers drive out OpEx or operational expense for their operations. And it's a big deal because today nobody has any budgets, nobody has any money, and digital controls and technology can help us with it.
Last but not least, Kenny, another one of the Johnson executives we had a chance to spend some time with at the Johnson conference is Earl Doyle. Earl is in charge of all the HVAC products, and Earl was telling us about an exciting new product that Johnson's coming out with, which is a wireless pneumatic thermostat.
Correct. That's a brand new product for us that we're releasing this year. What's interesting about it is a lot of building owners, they want to retrofit their existing buildings and have an opportunity to take a little bit of a step in technology. So this gives them the benefit of having the technology without having to replace an entire system. Started in the industry probably in the early 90s. They told me not to worry about pneumatics, it was going away. What's interesting is we're still talking about it today. So this gives us that opportunity to, again, talk about incremental change in the business for customers that can add value.
You know, Kenny, we talked about it last week, pneumatics last week on the show, with the how to calibrate a pneumatic thermostat. And I mean, they're still out there. I mean, if you go to virtually any building, I mean, odds are they're going to have a Honeywell or a Johnson pneumatic thermostat in there. We talked about last week, a lot of people like them. They work well. But now the ability to have a wireless connection with one of these where you can do setbacks and stuff like that is super. I think Johnson will do really well with this product. I'm excited to see it. We had Millennial Net and a couple other people on last year had introduced those products. We sell some other wireless pneumatic thermostats, and the people that just really like pneumatics love these because they get the best of both worlds. They get what they want in terms of pneumatics, Kenny, but at the same time, now they're able to bring them back into a front end and do time of day scheduling and collect data and stuff like that. So good luck to Johnson with all of these awards. Kenny, what do we have up next?
Okay. All right, Eric. Next up is read Navigant Research's leaderboard report on smart thermostats. Boy, this is an interesting topic that just keeps going. It just every week something in the industry is coming out that just makes it more important. Steadily overcoming the privacy issues and consumer apathy with waves of incentives, regulations, and smart metering, the smart grid continues to fuel the smart thermostat industry. And we're talking about a huge market, and the companies, the manufacturers that have the know-how and resources to respond to that initiative and an incentive are going to sell a lot of thermostats. And what was really cool about this was this is a 30,000 feet study coming down to the ground level, where they actually named the top 11 players, 10 players, and led by Honeywell, Nest, Trane, Carrier, Ecobee, Energate, Emerson, Computime, Radio Thermostat Company of America, RTCA, and Venstar. So a couple new to us.
Okay, Kenny, our next guest is from Functional Devices, who is up for the 2013 Small Peripheral Vendor of the Year Award. Her name is Laura Conkle. Laura rocks. She's been on the show before. She's back again. Hey, Laura, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on the show again. I appreciate it.
Congratulations on being nominated for the peripheral category, products from a small manufacturer. Tell us a little bit more about Functional Devices. Been around a long time, and you're known for the rib relay.
Thank you. We are honored to have been nominated for a Control Trends Award in the peripheral category. So thank you to all of you who nominated and voted.
Well, I tell you what, Kenny and Laura, the rib relay just rocked. It's been around for a long time, but in today's world, I mean, what other products do you guys offer?
Besides our rib relays, we also have current sensors, power supplies, transformers, power control products, enclosures, and wireless relays.
I'll tell you, Laura, when I think of rib relay, I think of McDonald's. I think I'm going to drive down the road and see a sign where rib relay or Functional Devices announces that they've sold 10 million rib relays, and next time I come down the street, it's going to be 20 million. They're ubiquitous in our market. Everybody uses Functional Devices, great product.
Yes, we have tried to provide an opportunity to our distributors to supply their customers with a one-stop shop experience by manufacturing all the contractor's needs by one trusted quality-driven manufacturer.
There you go. That's our girl, Laura Conkle from Functional Devices. If you haven't had the opportunity to meet Laura yet, she rocks and rolls. She's one of the awesome reps in our industry. She calls on most of the distributors here. So if you're a contractor, an end user, reach out to your distributor, say, I want to buy some Functional Devices, but only if you bring Laura in. Laura, thanks again.
Thanks for having me on the show again.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you for being on the show. Up, we have the Honeywell Momentum on Tour update. The Honeywell Silk Bus saves money. And a question that I believe someone asked recently here was, it's polarity insensitive, the Silk Bus. In fact, Silk Bus is it's all about better contracting and more profitable business. The Honeywell Silk Bus offers contractors a straightforward yet significant competitive edge because it rewards proficiency. Get more of your project done faster with less wiring and leverage Honeywell's dependable and potent silk technology. Let the Silk Force be with you.
That's awesome. And of course, we're talking about all these great vendors for the Control Trends Awards. Of course, Honeywell is right in the thick of it again. Tom Rosbach is up for the HVAC Controls Executive of the Year. Those of you who follow Control Trends know Tom came on about a month ago, did a great interview with us, was very open about Honeywell, the direction they're going, some of the challenges they've faced, and sort of how they are putting those behind them. So Tom is a super stand-up guy. Of course, Amy Anderson runs their marketing department. Amy came on. She's the one, I think the Momentum on Tour is her brainchild. Honeywell is up for the marketing award this year. We got to come up with a cool name to call the marketing award. Just the Control Trends Marketing Award doesn't cut it. So, I'm curious, Kenny, is it like the Chloe or something like that? What is the big marketing award? Do you know off the top of your head? If you don't, if one of our listeners does, leave it in comments. But we're going to find out whatever that big marketing award that, Don Draper and all the guys on Mad Men were going after. We're gonna rename that marketing award that. So it'll be like a Chloe or a Clio or I don't know, maybe we'll call it a Smyers. I don't know. But Amy and her team do a great job with marketing, creating marketing tools for Honeywell. We mentioned a few minutes ago that they have are redoing their website and making that more accessible. But the Momentum on Tour, I think, from everybody I've talked to, Kenny, has been a huge success.
Eric, Contemporary Controls, your industry expert in network technology. Contemporary Controls, every time I visit their site, and first of all, I got to say, they probably have one of the most valuable resources on the internet for people in our business. They've got a learning resource center and a video library second to none. If you need to know the background on how BACnet, everything about the PICs, you need to know. Contemporary Controls has an incredible, offering for people to visit. But George Thomas and Contemporary Controls are the renting experts in network technology for a wide range of applications. The new EIPR V Scorpion is a VPN router that provides secure remote VPN access to the internet via cellular or Ethernet connection. Contemporary Controls offers an unparalleled range of industrial and BAS solutions. If you need answers, are Contemporary Controls.
Kenny, I tell you what, George Thomas is one of the smartest guys I know, and since he does network solutions, my question for George is, George, can you help me and Kenny with our Skype connection? Because this is the second week in a row we've just had to start and stop about 7 or 8 times. So if you know how to fix Skype, George, you'll be even more of a hero to me than you already are. Kenny, Contemporary Controls are gold sponsors for the 2013 Control Trends Awards. If you don't have enough reasons to come to the awards this year in New York City, having the opportunity to rub elbows and talk to George Thomas should be reason enough. And good luck to Contemporary Controls at the 2013 Control Trends Awards. And George, Kurt, thanks again for your support. And I echo what Kenny says. These guys are just they're sort of on top of their game with understanding networks and controls and stuff like that. And it's a great website. So thanks again, guys. Well, there you go. That's it. That's another week of Control Talk Now with the man, the myth, the legend, Ken Smyers. I'm Eric Stromquist. You've been watching or listening to Control Talk Now. We appreciate you guys checking us out. Special thanks to our guest, Ben Dorsey from KMC Controls, Laura Conkle, the coolest woman in the controls industry, or one of the coolest women. I got to throw in Sarah Montalone, too. I mean, she's one of the really cool ones, too. So a lot of cool women in our industry, but Laura's definitely up there at the top. Also, thanks to Jim Mangini, Don Albinger, and Earl Doyle from JCI. Thanks to our sponsors, Vicon and Ed Merwin, Julie Hardesty. Hey, we appreciate you guys. Have a great week. We'll see you next week on Control Talk Now.